grab all the information in one day. It's not gonna happen, right? You should at least give a month or two for us to settle down, and from third month onwards, if we are not following that rule, you should disagree with our statement. But here it is not like from day one. It's
Did
like
they
that.
give you any training or no?
They gave how the system works, like what are the options. That's the only training they gave in the initial phase. And once all the approvals and everything is submitted,
No,
right?
that is very exactly sorry.
Once the approvals, everything is submitted, approvals were released, then they are coming and giving us the actual training. So there is a delay from there and also, right? So I don't know, if you communicate over the mail, right? I don't know. They don't feel like it's like we are maybe like they feel like we talk like better than them. So they are not ready to accept it. Every time we face some problems. But it's okay. One of the other day, Krishna friends the way
Every time he doesn't. Sometimes he asks us to do it, but okay.
Yeah, because he wanted to let us know that I'm a God, you're working for God. Just because you're working for God, right? Nothing is easy. I also face problem. You work for me also, you will face problem. It's not like your struggles are only things that matters.
But for what it's worth, I'm playing the devil's advocate, but I guess there have been complaints about not our story group, but like typically people have been talking on it that other clubs just use their money for their own purposes. They claim something and they use something versus they store.
That's why they have this new system.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's probably one of the reasons why they were this, so that's
Yeah,
what
so I told you how many people.
just a little execution issue from there.
Oh, they're walking. Yes.
Let's do some character hundred again. She really wants to sing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she said that Greek always sings and he never lets me sing.
Exactly, yeah.
And,
She also said he's so arrogant that
Yeah.
no one takes
He knows
that.
that I want to. He really knows that.
you know, she said nothing. I'm insisting.
You want to start? You want cartels or?
No, I'm not using any. His voice is annoying.
Yeah.
There you go, right? Is this on volume 2? Volume also?
Yeah. It's unmuted. Yeah. Later on we'll edit it out, the first part.
Oh, okay, this is a recording, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
think
live stream as well.
it's a live stream as well.
But no one's, did you share the link in the group? The live stream? You can share maybe after the kirtan, I guess.
Sure.
Right? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Okay.
Haribol.
That was Ashu's first time leading kirtan, right? Haribol, well done. So talk about one of the things that I asked you guys, like I think the first time I talked, is why do you guys come here? And one of the things is you want to feel at peace, yeah? And you kind of want to let go of the stresses of the week. Well, what a beautiful way to start. I'm actually de-stressed while my boss is emailing me. Okay. So thank you so much. So you'll have to bear with me because usually my partner in crime does a lot of these things, the PowerPoint with me, and we kind of organize our thoughts and stuff like that. But this time I didn't have that much input from her, but she did remotely help me. So I can't take full credit. So I always get a little nervous talking about Diwali to people from India who've been celebrating Diwali from when they were just little. So today is going to be a discussion more so than me lecturing you guys about what it is, what do we think Diwali is, right? And what are some of the ways we can celebrate Diwali? But then more importantly, how do we celebrate Diwali? And so we'll just have a nice open discussion about some of these topics, right? And I think with your background, you'll have a lot of input about understanding that. So you guys know there's a season for everything, right? I mean, there's spring is a season for growth, summer's, season for beauty. There's seasons, all seasons carry something with it. And so fall obviously is getting ready for winter in a typical way, but fall is also the season for beginning anew, right? And inviting our spiritual, becoming closer to who we really are. Spirituality. So just like you're familiar with the time period of Brahma Muhurat, right? In the morning day, I think it's, from 4 to 6, right? 4 to 6. It's the most auspicious time for doing any type of spiritual service, right? So any type of meditation, artis, pujas, those types of things. Your truly heartfelt prayers. That time period is more conducive than other time periods. Not to say that other time periods you can't do it, but it's just a little bit more conducive. So is the fall conducive for our spiritual growth in the same manner. And so what we want to talk about today is how do we take advantage of this beautiful time period that we have and kind of just reflect on some of the things that are happening. Maybe we're not aware of it. Sometimes we just forget that this is the time for reawakening our spirituality, about invoking, contemplating about what life is really all about. And then some of the practices that we can participate in that helps to not only reinforce that thought, but actually help us get closer to our spirituality. And then what can we take for the rest of the year during this time, some of these practices that can help us? And then we come back 1 year later and say, reassess. Where are we at? So if you know how we make our New Year's resolutions in January, right? Hoping to make that change because we know we can get better, right? And usually it's materially speaking, but that's okay. We're trying to draw comparisons between material endeavor and spiritual endeavor. We're in this material world, so sometimes, practically speaking, we have to endeavor a little bit. But the cool part about spirituality is there's a reciprocation that's mystic. And so God meets us halfway or more than halfway. So anyway, so that's kind of what I want to talk about, the rejuvenation of our spirituality. And this is the season for it. And then I want to have a little discussion with you guys. Sounds good? Yeah? Okay. So why do we celebrate Diwali? So before I flip the slides, this should be really good, right? Anybody?
Can I ask ChatGPT?
You can ask ChatGPT. Absolutely, you can.
I can tell.
Yes.
So, Diwali is celebrated on the occasion of Sri Ram coming back to Ayodhya.
Yeah.
After the war between Ravana, and when he's coming to Ayodhya, people are celebrating it, welcoming him. So that's the story I know.
No, absolutely. Okay, perfect. That's one, absolutely. So is that why you celebrate Diwali?
Yes.
For Ram coming back and that celebration, that tradition continuing on, right?
Right.
Okay, beautiful. Anybody else? Why does Soham celebrate Diwali?
The same reasons, but
Yeah.
it's kind of festival of lights where we spread happiness. It is usually celebrated with the family, so
Sure.
it is also a specific occasion when everybody comes together, celebrate it together, and we spread as much as happiness as we can. And yeah, one thing is significant: we light up diyas and a lot of other things. It is all lighted up.
Okay, good. No, this is great because now hopefully what we're going to figure out is like we're going to talk about the whys of some of these rituals, right? And why is that important to light a diya? What is this? What is lighting the diya signify? What's the significance of it? You know?
It is basically victory over evil, the victory of good over evil, and
Yeah.
how the light makes a change in our life. It illuminates our mood, our thoughts, and overall glorifying the victory over evil.
Oh, it's
And,
beautiful. Yeah.
Adding to it, the diyas is being lighted because this falls in a Amavasi day. Diwali falls in a Amavasi day, and it's so dark. And again, when Sri Ram was coming, right? People light it to welcome him so that he sees the
Practically speaking, where he needs to go.
That's where the light has started, and people started following it as a ritual, and still that diyas is being done because it's always falls in Amavasi.
Okay, that's beautiful. Okay, so hold that thought, okay?
Yeah,
I want to come back to that.
sure.
So basically what she's saying is the home of Ram was dark, and in order to make sure Ram can see his way,
Sorry.
okay? So hold that thought. We want to come back to that. Okay. All right, beautiful. Okay, should we get going? So a lot of these things, it's really cool because we're going to get to the essence of some of these religions. Like, so if we change Diwali with Christmas, we might be having very similar conversations, right? You talked about light being a metaphor for knowledge, for goodness, purity, right? So that's why it's a symbol for that also. You mentioned that in a darkened place, you can see where you're going, right? So these are all things. So let's go to, and so why, so it's so interesting when I say you can really replace Christmas with this, and I don't mean literally because I know it's a very special holiday. It's a very different holidays and it's very special in a different way. But my point is sometimes these wonderful festivals, these celebrations of something magnificent in terms of spirituality, they get tainted, right? And their meaning over time gets distorted, right? because Diwali is also a time for presents, right? Going home because you have time off, and seeing your buddies, right? Going out, right? There's a tradition now, right? Going out the night before Diwali, probably with all your friends and things like that. So why does this happen? What is it that distorts this meaning? Why does that happen? Unless we're really careful about understanding the essence and restoring it, right? Some families are like, mothers, they're like, no, you're coming home from Diwali. Don't tell me you got to work, right? She's trying to restore a tradition, right? So what is it that gets in the way? Maybe material nature. Yeah. The influence, the influence is subtle, but these influences sometimes take away from the original meaning of some festivals, some rituals, some traditions, right? And so when I say material nature, what is that? It's basically an energy that's separate from the spiritual energy, right? So it's an energy that's not spiritual. And so sometimes it has the effect of degrading certain things. Yeah? And so let's talk about it. All right, let's go. So you guys are 100% right. Okay? Diwali transcends external rituals to reveal profound spiritual truths, right? Celebrations are all the things that you guys said: lights, presents, festivities. That's what we do overtly to express our appreciation, yeah? But what's happening within our heart? I think you guys described this as well. Diwali is a sacred opportunity. It's an opportunity for inner transformation and divine awakening. What does that mean exactly, inner transformation and divine awakening? It's a bookmark in our year to say, hey, you're a spirit soul and you're not this body. Full stop. That's it. If that's the only thing that you're reminded of on Diwali, mission accomplished. And you get 2 stars if you can remember that for the whole year. Okay? And we're going to find out like why that is so important. So these spiritual traditions are so valuable. So valuable. These festivals, these traditions are like amazing. That's why our grandmothers and mothers want to retain it. Because in the hustle and bustle of our lives, we forget who we are. And this time, amongst family, right? We sit down and we realize what's really important in our lives. What's really important is being with family, right? People we love, people we're connected to. In the same vein, it's very important for us to get connected to our spiritual self. What to say about the super soul, right? And God. It's very important to do those things, right? So this is the one time of the year that helps us remind us that, hey, whatever you're doing, stop and pay attention and just and understand, just to kind of reflect a little bit on what's going on. Okay, so let's start going. So this, you guys had it down, right? Lord Ram's return to Ayodhya. What is the significance of it, right? So Lord Ram won against Ravan, right? And so that symbolizes righteousness versus unrighteousness, right? It also signifies, what else can it signify? Ram winning against Ravan. I think it's in my slides later. I don't want to give you too much, but it's also well, if you go over the hidden truth of this is Ayodhya is also internal with us. And it's darkened, like you had mentioned. And we need to provide light or purification so God can enter into our hearts, into our soul. So Diwali is a time to remember that hey, you do like a checks and balances. Is my heart, is it darker than the last year, the year before? Or is it getting lighter? Yeah. So you have to be honest with yourself and say, oh, well, last year I actually made a vow on Diwali that I was going to finish reading the Bhagavad Gita this year. Oof, I only got to chapter 2. Right? Okay, I'm going to make a vow again. But this time I'm not going to make it so big that I want to accomplish it. So I'm going to make sure I read like 6, I'm going to read a chapter a month this year, right? So it's renewing that vow. And it's about purifying our heart of the darkness. And so what are some of the things that are dark? When I say purify our heart because it's dark, what does that mean? Like, I think, like, I know most of you people, and you guys are just the most beautiful souls. You have beautiful hearts. So why am I talking about a darkened heart? What is so dark in our hearts that needs to be purified and cleansed? Anybody? Yes.
I think for the most part, all of us resonate with the fact that there's just so much happening on the external environment
Yeah.
that it's bound to impact all of us. Our faith, our peace, our sanity, and so sometimes it's we need a reminder to like step back and see that there's still someone we can trust, someone we can count on, and find our way.
Okay, very good. Very good. So who can think of an example? It's escaping me right now, but an example of something that works subtly. And before you know it, there's transformation. What is it like in science? Is there something that works on a subtle level to change the physical component of something? No? Well, the material energy works very subtly. And so if we're not careful and we recognize its effect on people, it can take a very purified heart and turn it dark. And what I mean by that is it's influence things like envy, greed, anger, and then the biggest culprit, lust, which is a form of desire. Those things enter into our hearts in connection with the material world. Like you said, we're so busy doing, our jobs are all encompassing, our school, our children, our wives, right? All these obligations that we have, we don't even think about it. We're just running and gunning, right? And so what happens is if we're not careful and we don't understand how to counteract those influences, before we know it, that material energies planted these seeds of these unwanted things. And that's what's referred to as a darkened heart. It's these anarthas, so to speak, right, that enter into our heart. Does that make sense? Like, would you guys agree with that? That if we're not careful, the outside influences can kind of derail us almost, or taint us, or even turn us into something that we don't want to be, right? Like, well, you know what's a really good analogy for that is friends. Friends is a really good analogy. You have your close friends, and then you have your acquaintances, right? And sometimes if you're not careful what friends you choose, you end up doing things that you're like, wait a minute, I didn't mean, like, how did I end up here, right? You end up doing things that you don't necessarily want to do, correct? Come on in, right? So it's that influence that you have to be careful of, right? Okay, so let's go. So light over darkness, yeah? And all it is we're trying to make our hearts and our souls ready to receive God. Okay? All right. So that darkness that we spoke of, that we light all these diyas, right? It's just not a place necessarily, but it's our inability to really truly understand who we are. Yeah. So when we don't have knowledge, when we don't have God in our lives, we forget that we're a spiritual soul. We're actually spirit instead of matter. Instead of this body, we're something else. Yeah. And we'll get into that a little bit more as the semester and the year goes on. But really, that's the true veil over us, that on Diwali, we hope to say, oh my gosh, okay, hold on. I find myself doing all these other things. Maybe I want to incorporate some things to that. That's a reminder that I'm a spirit soul. Yeah, that's all we're looking for, is just to remind us sometimes that who we truly are, what to say about actually doing certain things. Okay. Any questions about what I'm talking about here? So we have this beautiful festival also. Are you familiar with Damodar Festival? Anybody? You guys are. Who's okay? So during this period, the month of Kartik, which I believe it starts October 5th, 7th, 5th, 7th, something like that. 7th, you're right, I think. And it runs to like November 5th or something like that. So it's about a full month. And so people who are really spiritually inclined really hone in on it. Every single day. Remember we talked about like the diya representing creating light for God to come, right? Remember you were saying that? So during this whole month of Kartik, we pray and we sing a specific bhajan, and basically we light a diya every single night of the month. And the whole purpose is it's actually a prayer inviting God to us, right? Inviting God to be a part of our lives, right? So these diyas, these beautiful candles, and you know what? That's so funny. Rasa, okay, I should have used another one. But light always in any religion signifies knowledge, right? So really at the end of the day, we want to awaken our true identity, which is we're a spirit soul versus a body. And these guys that are with me reading the Bhagavad Gita, like, I don't know, Garish and I read it like 3 times a week or something. And then, but this concept that we're not this body, we're this spirit soul is so fundamental, but you'd be surprised how many times we forget it, like constantly, right? And so really, you guys, Diwali is a time for us to recognize who we truly, truly are, that we're actually part of divinity. We're part and parcel of God. We're a spirit soul. And so why do we want to know that, guys? Why do you think it's important to know who we are?
It's like we don't get caught up in the whole, material pursuit. Like there's just more to it than just like, studies and school, family, job. There's a bigger picture. There's a connection. So that kind of gives us something to really work towards. Even something that can help us be materially successful as well.
So you're not saying stop doing your material things, right? No.
Because we get like burdened with just everything going on around us. So that process, that reminder that we're not the soul, we're the body, can kind of alleviate some of that weight. Because knowing that this is not the do-all die-all. Like I'm not gonna, I shouldn't think that this is the end of the world kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful, right? Exactly. I mean, we need to recognize that because we don't know how to care for our spiritual body then. We only know how to care for our material body. And so the point is, like he said, is let's do both. So you got the material thing down, right? You want to work out, you got to feed yourself, you got to train your brain so you can get a job, right? All these things are very, very important. So then how do you care for your spirit? Your spirit, your soul, that spirit. Can you feed it? Can you work out your soul? Where do you go? A certain spa? Come on, guys. How do we work out? How do we take care of our soul?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Meditation,
Meditation,
yoga.
Bhakti.
bhakti. Be specific. Like, what do you mean?
Bhakti Yoga.
Bhakti yoga, the entirety of the bhakti yoga. Okay, very good. Yeah. Yes.
So our soul is part and parcel of Supreme Soul, which is coming from spiritual world.
Yeah.
So as we are part of spiritual world and being in this material world, we need to have the spiritual dose to our soul. We need to give little doses, and that is mainly God's name and being physically involved in the service of in the devotional service, and that gives our soul food, and
Okay.
that's how we nurture our soul.
Fair enough. Let's look into it. You guys are on it. You guys are on it. Okay. So this is what we don't want. Who doesn't have these qualities in their hearts? Who's purified enough? Pradumna? Yeah, I know. You came today. Those of you guys don't know, Pradumna is a dear friend of mine back in the day.
Still no.
We're still we're working on that. Just kidding. Of course. But you guys remember Robin? Like, you guys have probably all seen, like, you've obviously read and you've been part of all the dramas, right? Probably when you're growing up. So I was born in India and I came here when I was 7. Guess what I still remember? Yeah, the burning of Ravan, you know, that whole drama, the whole Leela. I still remember it, going to like this big field, and when they actually burned the effigy, right? So what are they burning? What does it symbolize, guys? Right? It's right here. These things are our true enemy. This is the Ravan within us. That's who Ravan is. So we can argue about whether Ravan is a myth, a Hindu myth, or part of our, spiritual past, right? It's a Leela. That's not the point. The point is, that's what he represents, right? Did he not depict lust, greed, envy? Who was he envious of? Lord Ram, right? What was he lusty for? Sita, right? Pride. He was ready to fight the Supreme Lord because he thought he was strong enough to handle it, right? See, this is a recurring theme in these pastimes, right? With Nrsimhadev. I don't know if you guys saw that movie, right? Same thing, right? This does happen too. So it's so interesting. Forgetfulness of our spiritual nature is madness. So Diwali, the reason that we celebrate it is because if we don't understand that we're a spiritual soul and do something about it and nurture our spirituality, we find ourselves becoming mad. What is mad? We've lost all meaning. We lost all hope. We don't know how to function. Because at the time of death, you guys, we're going to all look back and say, my gosh, I was, I worked hard and I accomplished the things that I thought I could accomplish in this material life. And so all we're saying is, can you say the same thing about your spiritual life? Hey, you know what? I gave it a good effort and I think I accomplished what I was supposed to do. I didn't do everything right, but we're just trying to get there. Right? In materially speaking, I don't think everybody sitting in this room is going to be a CEO of a company, nor I don't think anybody's going to be a prime minister of India. Maybe one. But so the bar is where? The bar is, hey, let me do the best that I can so I can live out some of the my prescribed duties, if you will. Most of you guys will be householders, right? And you'll have a family to feed and take care of, and children to care for at the same time, right? So if you guys took care of your families properly, you'll look back and said, oh my God, I did a really good job here. It wasn't the ideal, but I did it selflessly. I did it for them, not my desires. My desire was to ride my motorcycle across the US, and that didn't happen, right? I wanted to become a pilot so I can show off for the ladies, right? Whatever the case is. But you put that aside for your prescribed duties, right? Because it was selfless. Okay, so spiritually speaking, it's the same concept. It's taking that selflessness to the next level, right? So if we're able to cultivate our spiritual lives at the end of when our, it's all over for us and we're sitting there, we all can say the same thing. Hey, I did what I thought God wanted me to do to nourish spiritually as well. So that's where we're trying to get to. And all because we need to overcome these types of things. Because certainly, can anybody raise their hand and tell me who wants greed and envy as a quality at their deathbed? Right? At your wake? You don't want your family to say, I'll tell you what, man, he really cultivated that greed. He really cultivated pride. He was so disillusioned of what the meaning of life was. It was amazing. Right? But if we're not careful, this is what seeps in. Before you know it, this is who you become. So Diwali is so important because it reminds us, hey, we don't want to be this. We don't want to be Robin. I guarantee no one says, I want to grow up to be Robin. But so there's a, like aphorism that I like to use is your behaviors have to match your goals in order for you to reach your goals. Yeah. If you have a goal and you're doing something else, you're not going there. There's no way, right? So it's a simple concept. But this is what we're cultivating, you guys. We're working so hard to cultivate this stuff. Like when I was your guys' age, I was like a man on steroids trying to get this done. Honestly. And then in my 20s, it was like I was unleashed to get all this stuff done. Then I turned like 30 something and I'm like, am I really like this already? Am I already like this? So I know we don't want that. No one wants to be known by these qualities. And so the lesson here today, or the big takeaway, is Diwali is a reminder that if we don't start to nurture our spiritual life, we become Robin. It's our effigy that they might burn. No, I'm just kidding. Right? Does that make sense, you guys? Right? Like without knowing it, this is what happens. Yeah. And Diwali is like, wake up. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So there's a couple of other things that happened during this month, right before Diwali. So how many of you guys know of these pastimes that take place? Are you guys familiar with some of this?
I know about the Narkasur story.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, just tell us a quick summary.
He kidnapped all those and held them as a hostage, all the 16,100
princesses. Okay.
And Krishna just killed Narkasur, released them, and married them, I guess.
Okay, but why did he marry him?
Because their family members refused to accept them because they thought that.
Yep, they're tainted.
Yes.
Right, because they spent the night in somebody else's home. Right. Yeah. So what is the moral of the story here? Krishna is showing it's a pastime very similar. Narakasura was the Ravan of that age. He was very strong. He was very prideful. He was very lusty. He was very envious, etc., etc., etc. So this pastime also takes place. I think it's a day before Diwali, I want to say. I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, one day. So, and then Krishna, he showed compassion to these princesses, and that's why he married them, right? Because they would be tainted and they did nothing wrong. So for the innocents, God is there to help us. That's the point of the story. Okay. You guys know the story of Govardhan Hill, right? We celebrate that during this time, right? What is the moral of the story there? Who can answer that? Somebody, yes.
To destroy the pride of Lord Indra.
Yes, that's one. Absolutely. Okay, what else?
God will come to save his devotees no matter what.
Bingo.
Doesn't matter if the opponent is Indra himself.
Even if it's Indra, most powerful, right? Like it's okay, got it. He's the king of demigods, right? Okay. King. Anything else? So there's a lot of pastimes about Govardhan Hill. We can do a whole Leela, or we can do a whole lecture around it. It's so beautiful, right? But the point is, it's the same concept, you guys. These pastimes are important to remember because it helps us to understand our divinity, our spirituality. We start to understand who God is, what our relationship to God is, and then all of it to what the hell am I going to do about it? Like, how do I not become lusty and prideful and all these things, right? So how do we do it? So these are all reminders. This is why it's so important, right? This is why they say if you listen to the pastimes of Lord Krishna or Lord Ram or whomever, you're automatically cleansed by just listening. And I always used to be perplexed by that. I'm like, just by listening to the story, I'm cleansed spiritually? Yeah, if you think about it, right? After I got some, a little bit of understanding, and the understanding is, if it sinks into your heart, you start to understand that I am not this body and I'm actually a spirit soul, and that I'm actually, my relationship with God is what I need to cultivate. That's what these stories are all about, right? You guys can read, right? So my favorite is the last line. God protects those who surrender him. He's going to protect everybody, but he's especially favorable to his devotees, right? So it's saying if you surrender to Krishna, and he'll protect you. Okay, so what does that mean? Surrender. Because we got to get to the how of this. How are we going to do this? This is a nice, knowledgeable lecture, whatever. It's nice, right? But we got to do something with this. We're materialists, after all. We got to do something. What can I do? I can't wait around, right? So how do we surrender to Krishna? Remember in Diwali, we make a vow to say, I'm going to do something spiritual this year. Okay? You take that vow, and you layer it on another vow, and another vow, and another vow, and before you know it, you're surrendered to God. So you surrender to God by cultivating your spirituality, right? Full surrender is, I am fully aligned with what I'm supposed to do spiritually. Okay? And so this is the reminder. The benefit is if you fully surrender, he will protect you, even against horrific catastrophes that can happen in our lives. So the more proportionally speaking, Krishna protects us, the more we surrender. Okay? And if you don't believe it, try being a spiritualist. They'll test you. He goes, oh, you think you're surrendered? I'm going to give you a calamity and see if you believe in me. Do you trust me or not? Right? And so it's just, he does it a different way. We think, oh my God, he'll protect me. That means I won't have any problems. He'll say, I'm going to give you problems. See if you trust me and I'll protect you at the end. Okay? So does that make sense, right, you guys? Surrender is all these spiritual vows, these practices that we start to do, right? It's devotional service. Come on in, guys. Yeah. Hello. Come on in. We're cleaning. I don't know if you guys want to be part of this. Right? So come on in. Come on in. Okay, cleaning the heart. Wait a minute. Do you clean the heart? Wait. I'm messing this up for us and stuff. Okay. You want to read? Yeah.
The tradition of cleaning and decorating homes.
Loud.
The tradition of cleaning and decorating homes symbolizes something far deeper than physical tidiness. First, sweep away doubts, remove uncertainties and offenses that block spiritual progress. Remove material clutter, clear away attachments so devotion can shine brightly. Prepare the residence. Make the heart a worthy dwelling place for Rama or Krishna. Welcome divine presence. Create space for God to enter and reside permanently.
So this is very clever, right? So like in Diwali, if you remember your mom and your grandmother, they would clean the house and get it ready. These are all metaphors, guys. These are all metaphors for how to prepare ourselves to connect with God. Yeah? And once we prepared ourselves and we're ready to go, then we can do something about it, right? So like, what are some of the things that can block our spiritual progress? I don't even know. We might be offensive, and I don't even know we're offensive, right? So you have to get some knowledge, right? At first, I think that's the message. First, you have to know, right? And then after you know, then you can start to implement some things, right? But if you don't know, that's how we are in this position we're at. Because if we don't know, guess what? We're going to be told by somebody. You know who that is? That's that thing in your hands and your pockets. It's constantly telling you what you need to do, right? But there's really no one person, right? Who is this person? Like, what is that entity that is constantly telling you this is how you got to be? You got to get a master's, man. What are you doing? You don't get a master's, you're not doing it right, right? Okay. You guys get my point, right? See, when we're attached, it's hard for us to see our spiritual side, right? Anyway, that's a beautiful slide, actually. Any questions on this? We have to prepare ourselves. Diwali reminds us to prepare ourselves. This is one of my favorites. So you guys, no kidding. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a true story. This was about 10 years ago. And since a lot of my cousins grew up here, so we've got all kinds of people married into all kinds of races, right? So we were at my aunt's, and their husband, they're both Americans, white Americans. And so this was their first Diwali celebration, and they didn't know what Diwali was all about. Like, they didn't have this class, okay? So their question was, what is Diwali and why do we celebrate it, right? That was their question. And so my aunt, God bless her heart, she started off by saying something like, well, it's a celebration of God and lights, and then we have money, and we celebrate the money. Ross and I are there, we're almost coming out of our skin. Like, I'm like, oh! So this slide reminded me of that. Because we too have been part of like this. How does Lakshmi fit into all this, right? Okay. So while the world celebrates Lakshmi as a material wealth on Diwali, which is prevalent, right? Sages emphasize a revolutionary understanding of true fortune, right? And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. Like, Diwali, what is it all about? It's about bhakti. Soham mentioned bhakti. What's bhakti? It's devotion to God, not the material possessions. So here's the biggest takeaway. Make as much money as you can. Just don't be devoted to it. That's it. We had a beautiful conversation yesterday about Krishna is actually telling you in the entire Bhagavad Gita, do your duty to the best of your ability. So no one's saying don't make money. And think about how well-intentioned people in your lives are telling you, hey, be very careful with this religious business. You got a career to make. No one's saying don't make money. Make what you're supposed to make. But just don't be attached to it. What is another way of saying it? Don't be devoted to it. Don't let it be everything. Okay? Instead, cultivate devotion to God. Okay, so now I'm going to say it the other way. If you don't do this, you will do this. Okay, so I've just kind of turned up the pressure on you guys. I said Diwali is all about remembering God and maybe read a chapter a month or something, right? And now I'm saying, well, if you don't want to have those bad qualities of Ravan, you got to start somewhere here. Because if you don't, you're going to be Ravan. So did you think I was going to tell you you're going to be Ravan? Does that make sense though? But it's the truth, right? So we have to cultivate that. That's all it is, right? It's just a cultivation. It's the first recognition. And then it's just like, okay, so what can I do? I don't want to be Ravan. I don't think anybody here wants to be Ravan. So let's work on it, okay? And it starts with this. Just the thing is, I can make money, but I don't have to be attached to it. I don't have to be devoted to it. Okay. Eternal prosperity. You guys get that, right? Because you can't take your money with you. I mean, it's simple. But you guys are so young to think that, oh my God, I'm going to die and I even have to worry about problems like leaving money behind. I can wait. That is so far ahead. I'm just trying to make sure that I have money to leave behind that I can't take with me or whatever. But you'd be surprised. Like, I'm not kidding you. My boss is 62 years old. He wants to start a company and I'm like, dude, you already had a heart attack. And I like him. He's a good man. But he doesn't have Diwali to remind him that he's not his spirit and his body. Like he's like, man, and we can, I'm like, by the time we get this company off the ground, you'll be 70, man. What are you going to do with all this money that you're going to have? Right? So, but he wants me to work with him in his company. I'm like, all right, sure, I will. But I'm not looking to make all this. Like, I'm not attached to the money necessarily, right? So we have to just understand that it's this devotion to God that we take with us. It's not the devotion to material things, right? And then this is beautiful too. This is a fact. Where does Lakshmi reside? On Ankit knows this. On his chest specifically. Right? So what's wrong with this? So even if you want money, it's not where you're looking. It's not where you think is going to be. Lakshmi is actually when we're aligned with our spiritual nature, and we start practicing that. This was what we were talking about. The habits that we develop spiritually can lead to material success as well. Yeah, pretty cool slide, right? So the funny thing is this. Like this is very hard. Why? Because you can do it, but it's not all you. It has to be reciprocated. It's mystical. Okay, fair? Any questions? You already knew that, though. You can't take your money with you. Okay, how about this? Okay, so let's get to the house. Spiritual practices. Kirtan, bhajans, glorifying God, arti. These are all the things we do, right? But then how do we take that with us? Practically speaking. Prashadam distribution, right? We do that. You guys do that. Help out somebody who's in need. There's plenty of people that need help. How about this? This is my favorite. What is the real blessing of Diwali again? So when you're talking with your friends, about Diwali and just be like, man, I had to do something. This year, I'm going to do something. What are you going to do? I'm just going to read a chapter a month. Of what? The Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Why would you do that? Because that's like the real purpose of Diwali is to cultivate our spiritual side. Now you became a preacher in Krishna's, in Krishna's Leela, if you will. That's all. That's all we're saying is just tell somebody who doesn't know the real meaning of Diwali, and they'll say, of course I know, stop. I've been grown up in this stuff. Right? And then bringing, we already talked about it, bringing that light of knowledge into others' lives. And so what really that means is you becoming the example so you can share it with your friends, like example-wise. Sometimes you don't even have to talk, just the way you live your life, right? Okay, I think this is the last slide. Yeah. This kind of touches on everything, right? So all these beautiful symbols in our beautiful festival of Diwali, all these symbols, all these rituals, they have specific meanings. And those meanings are to help us to reconnect with truly who we are. You know? And so this Diwali, if you can just have that understanding or that knowledge and say, oh, wow, okay, I'm going to celebrate it exactly how I celebrate it, but now I have a little bit thicker, deeper meaning inside of me. And that Mohit said that if I don't cultivate my spiritual life, I'm going to become Robin. Just keep that in the back of your mind. So I had a really good time putting this presentation together because it's so fundamental and we forget about all the fundamentals. Like Diwali is it's a beautiful holiday. All the activities that actually happen materially they're symbol, they symbolize spiritual stuff, like your mom cleaning the house. It's us getting our heart cleansed, right? Lighting a diya, is like our calling to God to say, hey, I need some knowledge. Let me connect with you. Any questions? So did we accomplish our goal? What was our goal? Why do we celebrate Diwali? Yeah? To connect with God. To connect with our true nature. Understand that we're not this body, we're a spirit soul. God's the super soul. How do I connect? Because if I don't connect, I got problems. I'm going to end up being somebody I don't really want to be. I'm going to cultivate qualities that make me cringe right now, right? That's basically it. And the thing is, back in the day, because everybody lived a very sattvic lives, the influence of the material energy to have these bad qualities wasn't so strong. But in this time and age, you guys can tell it right now more than anything. You guys are all, technology driven too. Technology is a really good thing, but it also helps spread some really bad stuff. And so if we're not careful, then we'll end up being somebody who we're not. And so that's all it is. Diwali is a call for you to reconnect with your true self. Thank you very much. No questions? That means it wasn't that good. Any questions? Any comments? Debates? No? You guys agree or disagree? Yeah, right? You guys know this stuff, right?
I mean, it was a reminder. Definitely, that was much needed. That's what, like you said, it's all fundamental, but then with everything, we just lose track of it. So it definitely was helpful. That's why there's no questions or debate because that.
It's obvious, right? Yeah, no, it is. It's obvious because we're like, yeah, that makes sense. The hard part is doing it. But you guys, this is how we operate in this world. And this is, look how beautiful this is set up. God created this system. So guess what? Diwali comes next year again. You're not unique in the fact that you forget. We're designed to forget. So God says, okay, well, we're going to do it again. And then we'll do it again. And we'll do it again. Oh, by the way, we'll have like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different festivals also along the way to remind you. And we'll keep forgetting until one day we're going to bang our head against the wall and be like, okay, that moment will come when you're ready. That moment will come when you guys are ready. Okay? It's a beautiful thought. It's just, we have to remind ourselves constantly. And guess what devotional service really is? Reminding ourselves constantly. Right? Saley, we were talking about it. So,
and we are really fortunate that we got this call before Diwali itself. So we can wake up and celebrate Diwali like this.
Yeah, right? No, like think about it. Like what does a sage do? Like a mystic in the Himalayas, what is he doing? He's constantly reminding himself that he's a spirit soul and needs to connect with the super soul. Yoga definition is connection with the divine. Right? So a sage just does it 24 hours a day or whatever, 20 hours a day, whatever he does it, right? So bhakti yogis, what do? So
Meditate,
They-
connect with God.
they meditate through mantra meditation for 2 hours a day in the form of japa. They read scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita for maybe an hour a day, right? What is that? Reminding, constant reminder, because we always forget. Okay? So we start small and then we go from there. Kirtan, we already did kirtan.
They do kirtan.
Oh, kirtan. Sorry. Yes, kirtan. Yes, very, very important. And reminds us of Krishna, right? God, right? So it's constant reminders because we're forgetful people. Okay, thank you very much. So I think the next,
All right, before we do, I guess, announcements or go into the dinner, let's just take 20 to 30 seconds and just reflect on today's and what Diwali personally means to each of us, and maybe what's something we would like to try doing differently this year. Just kind of think of one thing that maybe resonated from today's class that you can carry with you for your entire lives. So let's just try and do that for about 20 to 30 seconds. Start opening our eyes now. Thank you so much, Mohit, for this beautiful class. Perfect timing.
yeah.
All right, any announcements?
So we'll have the Diwali celebration on October 25th. And we'll have a form here. So if you want to participate and volunteer in any way, like drama, skate, dance performance, sing. I did sing. So you can fill out that form and we'll take it from there. Can you fill out the form? I don't know where is it.
It'll come up afterwards.
Yeah. So, and thank you, Mohit Prabhu, for
Yeah.
enlightening us on this.
Yeah, of course.
And let's join everyone for dinner.
Yeah. Shut that up. Thank you. Appreciate it. Is it okay?
I don't know why you said thank you.
No, thank you for setting that up.
Oh, good. Nice. That's a springboard, right? Because it's good. Behind it, that's
But first you can have
terrible stuff.
Oh, good, dude.
Any confidence? Confidence. Confidence. You're
Confident
speaking. Confidence.
Oh,
You say something you didn't mean to say.
I'm confident I'm hungry.
Why are you in? Why are you in incognito? I don't know why.
I was works on incognito.
These guys are. I'm watching them. They're like my kids. Kids. They're like all brothers. It's so cute.
Yes.
I keep my body.
Full image.
I don't have it in my laptop.
Oh,
Wait, first let me open, then you connect. I can't leak my chats.
Oh, yeah. We had a nice discussion. Chapter 3.
Where was it? Where is it? I think I need to send it again. This is not the one. Oh shit! But I don't know why. There is this sadness inside me.
what?
Yeah, I'm feeling very sad, you know, because the Diwali is near, and this will be my first Diwali away from home. So I'm feeling weird.
That's okay.
Yes, it was really nice. I mean, I really enjoyed it because it was kind of an awakening for everyone.
Weird, but it's okay. Thank you.
But still,
Yeah.
we
This
forget.
will just download it.
The importance is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And every time you memorial.
Photos,
Yes.
maybe full screen.
Bringing spirituality.
First up on it.
A lot of new people here. They are not with their family. So we forget how we used to celebrate it.
Do you have HDMI?
Yes, there is.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.